Hello students, today we'll have the summary of the third chapter of Hornbill, and the name of this chapter is Discovering Tut. The saga continues, which is written by A.R. Williams. Now my dear students, Discovering Tut, the saga continues, gives actually an insight into the mystery surrounding the life and death of Tutankhamun, who was a pharaoh of Egypt, or a king of Egypt, who was the last teenager ruler of his dynasty, and that dynasty had ruled in Egypt for centuries. Now, my dear students, as he was last of his family line, and his funeral brought the end of a very powerful dynasty that had been ruling in Egypt for many centuries. Not much still is known about this particular boyish king. You can know, as you studied, as you knew in the explanations in the last videos, and Tut's father or grandfather maybe, who was Amenhotep III, was a powerful pharaoh or a king, and he ruled for a long period of time. And his son Amenhotep IV shocked the country by attacking Amun, who was a major god of Egypt, and Amenhotep IV started smashing and breaking the images and idols of the gods and closed the temples of the earlier ones, and people used to worship that god, and he closed all those temples, and he changed his own name also to Akhenaten and promoted the worship of Aten, which is actually a sun god according to the ancient Egyptian civilization. Now, after his death, a mysterious ruler, Smenkhare, also appeared briefly but exited without hardly much a trace in Egyptian history. When Tut actually took over, or when Tutankhamun took over, actually, he changed his own name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun, as he was a worshipper of Amun, god Amun, and that is why he changed his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun and restored the old ways. And however, Tut ruled for about 9 years and then died mysteriously, unexpectedly, and in order to unreveal the mystery of his death, King Tut's mummy was scanned after 1,000 years, and thus opening new perceptions regarding what could be the cause of his death. Now, in 1992, my dear students, his tomb was first discovered by Howard Carter, and who used all kinds of means to remove the Tut's ornaments from his coffin, from his body, from the body of Tutankhamun, because he was just the whole coffin was full of ornaments, different ornaments, gold, precious metals. The ritual regions had actually hardened the whole mummy with the coffin, and it was necessary to take those. It was very necessary to take these different precious things out, remove these things from the mummy of King Tut, actually, because if it wouldn't have been done, so certainly it was much sure that the robbers would have actually robbed the tomb of Tutankhamun, and they would have taken that stuff away. And in doing so, they would have done a lot, something which is which anyone, a lover of archaeology or history, a person who loves culture, would not even want to think of. They would have looted it and they would have destroyed even the Tut's mummy also. So it was very necessary that the ornaments, all those things that were on the body of Tutankhamun, that had to be removed, and that wealthy things need to be removed, the treasures needed to be removed. Now Carter finally had to chisel away, he had to remove away, and had no other option. He had to break the mummy into different pieces to take those things out. Although he had tried earlier, keeping the mummy in the sun actually, so that he could actually have those things out. Might be the mummy could be separated from the box in which it was lying, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So, and in doing so, every major joint was severed. In 1968, an anatomy professor x-rayed the mummy and revealed the Tut's breastbone and the front ribs were found missing. And such a big revelation would not have been possible without the technology, my dear students. So it was very necessary, and this fact gives us a clue that Tut in all livelihood did not actually die a normal death, a natural death. Something very bad happened to him. Perhaps he was murdered. And it's being the topmost thing, because he was a boyish king also. He was much young. People would have been, who had been much more earlier, would have been seeking ways to kill this man. And that's why. Now, Tut's mummy was again scanned in 2005 under the supervision of Zahi Hawass, who is the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, and the CT scan could not resolve the mysterious death of Tut, but actually gave a lot more clues, certainly for sure. Now, the whole lesson of discovering Tut also provides a comprehensive awareness of the ancient Egyptian culture. And the ancient Egyptians believed that there was life after death. And that is why the pharaohs, or the Egyptian kings actually, were buried with tremendous wealth also, and including the things which they required for the daily purposes in their life also. So those things such as razor was also found in Tut's pyramid, in Tut's tomb, and so that they could use these things, such kind of things in afterlife also. And it was also believed that gold would guarantee their resurrection, and there could be a chance that in the other world these things could actually help them in that afterlife. With this, we come to the end of the summary of Discovering Tut. The saga continues. Thank you.